Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Flex Network. I'm your host, as always, Flex Shane. You can follow me on Twitter at the Flex Network 1. I'm joined by my partner in crime, the one and only, the hardest working guy in the biz today, at Alan Seslowski. You guys know him as Season Long Says. How you doing, brother?
What's up, my friend Shane?
We are also joined by a very, very special guest. One of the fans of the show, a guy we had to get on because of all of his hot fire takes on Twitter. You guys know him as the Sapper Stud. We know him as Brandon Adam. Brandon, how are you doing, brother?
Oh, thanks for having me, Shane. I can't wait to get this started. So excited.
This is exciting. So, okay, before we get into it, though, Brandon, we got to talk a little bit about you. So, what's your flavor? You were talking before the show. You love super flex leagues. We at the Flex Network think that there's only one type of league, super flex. So, just how long you've been playing fantasy? What kind of leagues you like to play in? Tell me about it.
I like all sorts kinds. I've been playing a lot of Superflex lately.
Yes.
I've been mostly a redraft guy and just a single QB dynasty player. Dabbled a little bit in BestBall, but mostly redraft, DFS, and dynasty. But I definitely like the Superflex and tight end premium leagues. That's pretty fun.
Love it. Love it. Love it. Love it. So, guys, today on the show, we've got a few things we want to talk about, but something that I did see online and it sparked my interest. It was one of our boys, Von Ironcock. You guys know him as the Baron. He had a question on Twitter about straight up, would you guys prefer DJ Moore or Devontae Adams in your dynasty leagues? And, I bet you if you polled 100 people, I bet you half of them would probably go DJ Moore and the other half would go Devontae Adams. So let's just get it started. I mean, Brandon, let's assume that you are a potentially win now type team, but you're also planning for the future, right? So you're like a top 6 to 12 team in your dynasty league.
Top 12.
Okay,
that's everybody.
Top 1 to 6. You know what I mean? Top half
Canada.
You're a playoff. Exactly.
It's top 6. That's 12 Canadian.
Exactly. You gotta add inflation, guys. Come on, the exchange.
Yeah, totally.
The exchange. So who are you taking? You know what? Actually, forget that. It's a dynasty startup. Who are you taking first? Straight up, Devontae Adams or DJ Moore?
I would take Devontae Adams 100% because he has top 5 upside all the way, and he has one of the better QBs in the league. And it seems like Aaron is zeroed in on him, and he is a huge part of that offense. I could see with the addition of Robbie Anderson and still having Curtis Samuel and Ian Thomas in Carolina, that DJ Moore will have some of that pie taken up this year.
Al, what do you think?
Oh, yeah, no, for sure. That I think we all like DJ Moore as a top 7 or 8 or 10 wide receiver. There's no doubt, especially in PPR. The guy looks like he is like a special talent, and that he's been able to perform with all different kinds of quarterback. He's able to been step right in the league. I don't think any of us think that Devontae Adams is a dynamic, amazing playmaker, but he catches every single thing thrown at him, just like Michael Thomas. And more importantly, like you said, he's got one of the Mount Rushmore QBs, the best 4 of all time, throwing him the football and who has his trust. So Devontae Adams for fantasy, I think Devontae Adams is, certainly in the same tier as DJ Moore for different reasons, but he's on top of that tier. Now, if somebody wants to go on the limb and say, hey, listen, I think I have like Julian Edelman plus in DJ Moore, peak Julian Edelman plus, and I want him for his career, I don't have a problem with it, but sometimes we do tend to overthink these situations. And in the first round of your dynasty startup, you got to go with the sure thing.
Does it worry you? I mean, Kate, so we talked about
what side of the argument were you on, Shane?
Oh, I'm on where I roll, baby. I'm DJ Moore all the time. I mean, it's close, right?
First round startup, you're taking him?
I'm probably not taking either of those guys first round in the startup because I'm probably going to take a running back.
But I would pick 11.
If I'm pick 11, I would consider it as like on the turn coming back. But to be honest, like to me, the sweet spot about DJ Moore, and actually, I'm just going to reference you guys just did a startup, or you guys are currently in the middle of a startup right now. And our friend, the geek over at DFS Army, he took DJ Moore at the 212. He had the 101, so we took him at the 212. To me, that's actually the perfect spot because, look, as much as I love DJ Moore and as much as I love Devontae Adams, I'm not going to reach for a player. So I mean, to me, it's really, I think that Davante Adams is a guy that can absolutely help you win this year, right? But last year, obviously, he was battling with injuries, but he still ended up playing, what was it, 12 games he played last year? And
by the
12
way,
games he played last year.
I'm pulling up my dynasty rankings while I'm talking to you. I haven't published them yet, but
right.
I have DJ Moore, just so you know, in regular PPR. This is not Superflex. Okay.
Non-Superflex. Okay.
I have him at, I guess you're right. Cause he fell at 12 overall for me. So you are right with that. In Superflex, because that's really what we were talking about. That's when you talked about the Geek had him at the 2-3 turn.
Yep.
When we go to that, I have DJ Moore. It's not much worse. Yeah, it's at pick 19.
Yeah, so it's at the end of the second round is probably that sweet spot for a guy like that because he is still just 23 years old. He just turned 23. But last year, 12 games for Davante Adams, and he still only scored 5 touchdowns. Obviously, the year before that, he had that monster season with 13 touchdowns total. So we know what Davante Adams is. He did battle with some injury, but if DJ Moore is still putting up 4 touchdowns, almost 1,200 reception yards on 87 receptions last year with pretty much hot garbage, he gets a guy like Teddy Bridgewater, who, let's be honest, like Teddy Bridgewater is a safe,
he's a game manager. He's a game manager.
Yeah, but when you've got a yak monster like DJ Moore, that's the kind of quarterback you kind of want for him. Yeah. So from that perspective, would I rather have a guy even like a Cam Newton? Of course, right? Because then it opens up so many other opportunities. But Teddy Bridgewater, I think, is better than what he was dealing with last year. And then obviously the year before that, a broken Cam Newton. So I think the wheel's up is up for DJ Moore. It's close. It's absolutely close. Brandon, you were talking about if you're in a win now team, you want Davante Adams on your team. And I would probably agree with that because we know he's got that 13 touchdown season potential, if not more, right? Green Bay Packers.
Aaron's pissed off.
Aaron Rodgers is pissed off.
Rodgers.
That's kind of, it's funny because we used to always joke about Tom Brady would go into prick mode, right? Bill Belichick would go into prick mode. And that's when you want those guys on your fantasy team. So Davante Adams absolutely has that upside. Whereas, if DJ Moore scores between 7-8 touchdowns next year and gets like 1,200, 1,300 yards, I think that'll be considered a successful season for him. So DJ Moore is probably going to have similar or potentially more receptions, but
stop for one
touchdown upside.
Hold for a second. Moore. We know that DJ Moore's value is not in the yardage and the touchdown totals. Why we draft DJ Moore is because he could have 135 receptions. Like he could have.
And that's where I think lies the problem. I think with the addition of Robbie Anderson, those shot plays are going to be his. And I think DJ Moore is going to be more of the underneath kind of yak kind of guy, like a Deebo Samuel type kind of guy that can occasionally go downfield. But Teddy Bridgewater, that's not his strength. His strength is getting that ball out, short yardage, intermediate routes.
I like that.
It kind of makes you wonder if they've got Curtis Samuel and they have Robbie Anderson. Like, why would they even get a Robbie Anderson? It's kind of redundant, but at the same time, sorry, go ahead.
That head coach, Robbie Anderson. That's his college
Temple.
coach.
Matt Rule was the head coach at Temple.
He didn't sign his boy for no reason.
That's a really good point. I think it's interesting too that Curtis Samuel, I think he's almost better on those intermediate type routes anyways. He's a speedster, so almost sometimes people get typecasted just because they are quick wide receivers. Doesn't necessarily mean that that's going to be their best game, right?
I was hoping he was going to be traded, but he didn't.
Oh yeah. Curtis Samuel was kind of a favorite here at the Flex Network, and unfortunately,
I know I was against you guys.
Yeah. Were you?
More all the way.
Of course you were.
Last year.
See, this is why we gotta have you on the show more often because you're contrarian to us, right? Like you get this group think, and it's a problem. That's why we like having Al. Al's our notorious wet blanket. He likes to throw the wet blanket on everything.
Play the role of the wrestling heel well, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Hey, it's all good.
Exactly. Okay, so we're split 2-1. Davante Adams, DJ Moore.
But I don't have a hard lean on that.
No, and
I think it's not. There's no wrong answer. You can make an argument for both. So
absolutely. They're both sick players. They're both absolutely sick players.
Well, the market certainly thinks Davante Adams, and again, doesn't mean the market's right.
Yeah,
it just means because I think it would be if you put that poll up on Twitter. If someone was answering that honestly, and I guess really the only way to get them to answer it honestly would be to have them enter, a league where they have to make that decision, and it's some meaningful money. You know.
Okay, let me ask you this, guys, because I literally had to straight off from my league and I turned it down. Not for DJ Moore, but for AJ Brown. Somebody offered me straight up Devontae Adams for AJ Brown, and I said no. Was I an idiot?
Adams.
You take Adams forever?
I'm a huge Brown guy too,
Yeah.
and I say Adams because he has the top 5 upside and he has a great quarterback. And so, I mean,
it's all projection with Brown. Like we think he's going to be good and we like it, but Devontae Adams you hope he turns into the same production of Devontae Adams.
Yep. Yeah. That's just it.
I mean, I took AJ Brown in the 3rd round over a Juju Smith-Schuster, over an Odell, because I believe in that guy's future. I think he's going to be a complete superstar in the next 2 years, but it's going to take another year to get to that level. But Adams is at that spot right now. He's that guy.
We had AJ.
Go ahead, Al. So this team, I guess, I don't think I'm going to win now with this team. I was telling you about this team before, Brandon, where it's the same one where I just drafted Cam Akers and Keyshawn Vaughn in my rookie drafts. I traded away Lev Bell. I've got Phillip Lindsay. So I'm kind of in rebuild mode. So for me, I think I'm probably still 1 year away. And that's why I really was targeting the younger wide receivers. But yeah, and also it also helps the fact that the guy who was trying to offer me the trade, he won the league last year. So I'm a little bit more reluctant to trade away my young guys to the guys. So anyways, that is a couple of really good players. It's all exciting. And you guys want to talk a little bit about rookies?
We'll talk about anything you want, Shane. This is right. You're always a good topic picker, so I have no objection.
Okay, so I would like to talk about where you would take rookies, either in your best ball leagues that you're participating in today, or say we fast forward to August and this is actually, there's going to be an NFL season and you're drafting these rookies. So based on the information that we have today, where are you comfortable drafting some of these rookies? And just to provide some context, I mean, guys like Jonathan Taylor, DeAndre Swift, they were going in really the early 3rd round, early to mid 3rd round in best ball drafts prior to the NFL draft. I just joined one recently, and this is how it's shaken out with the top 5 guys. So Clyde Edwards-Helaire went the mid 2nd round in my draft.
That's a little early, don't you think?
We'll get there in a second. I'm just going to lay out the information before. We're going to talk about it because I 100% agree with you. But Al, let's give the people.
Sorry. I just got that was a neat. That was like you hit my knee with the hammer.
I love it. Okay, so Clyde Edwards-Helaire mid 2nd round, Jonathan Taylor mid 3rd round, J.K. Dobbins, who I drafted maybe a little bit high. I took him in the mid 4th round. DeAndre Swift went mid 5th, and right after Swift went Akers. So they're all right around that area. And let's start off with the top. Clyde Edwards-Helaire, he is the shiny new toy in town, drafted by the Kansas City Chiefs, of course. Brandon, where are you drafting CEH right now?
For me, I would do it at the end of the 2nd in a best ball, but I've seen him going as early as 112 this week. So people are crazy over this guy, and the value is just going through the roof for him.
There was some news already that he's not going to start like that. That's because in best ball, like so even in a redraft or season long, I can understand it because you take them, then you could get Damian Williams or someone 5 rounds later. But in a best ball where every week counts, like if you're in 12th place 3 weeks in a row, you're done. Like you cannot catch up.
So, I don't play too much best ball, so that's something strategy work that you would definitely know versus me.
Yeah.
Well, so the NFFC right now, he is going right at the end of the 2nd round. He's the 23.5 is his ADP right now.
But that's also accounting for. Did you do that right since after the draft, or did you that account for before the draft?
That's April 27th.
Okay, so that's after the draft, right? Because I was saying if you accounted for before the draft when he was going in the 4th and 5th round, then that means his ADP is even higher.
Yeah.
Yep. Absolutely. So what about Jonathan Taylor? Al, before the draft started, you were talking about how Jonathan Taylor, if you're drafting him in the 3rd round, you're pretty much drafting him at his peak value. And there's only risk that you're paying for that 3rd round pick. And it seems to kind of have worked out. I mean, Jonathan Taylor, obviously taken by the Indianapolis Colts. I like him there. I still think it's a conversation at least to take JT first overall, but it's too high.
Yeah, I think he's going to be a monster running the ball. There's no question. But everyone is just saying Marlon Mack is going away. Sure, in Dynasty, Jonathan Taylor is worth a top 3 pick. Depending on which running back you like. But by no means is he a lock to be even the second best rookie producer this year. Everyone's like, well, Nyheim Hines is getting the passing down work. Now, let's just say, last year, Nyheim Hines caught like 50, 60 passes. Let's say that goes down. I think, if you look back to the college career of Marlon Mack, he was a pass catcher in college. That's what his role was. So what the most logical thing was, they went and they got a smash mouth runner, one of the probably the best running back in this draft. And it makes sense that they would move Marlon Mack to the third down role. And if he's not doing the third down role, then you have Nyheim Hines basically that's going to be locked into the third down role. So you're talking about a 2-down grinder, given that he's really good at it. Someone that dropped a good amount of passes, put a few extra balls on the floor as far as fumbling. I'm not saying Jonathan Taylor is going to be good, but I'm saying is like how people are drafting him in the second round. And you're saying he's still going the third. I've seen him go up in the second round in these best ball drafts, but third round, fine, because it's like him, Leonard Fournette, like who you taking there? Mark Ingram, like I get it, but I can see a situation where you're going to be disappointed for fantasy if you take him that high for all the reasons I just stated.
Leonard Fournette, how the mighty have fallen, hey? Didn't
still
pick up
got
the fifth-year option.
Well, what happens if there's been talk about him being traded to Seattle. So if that happens.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I can see it, but like who they'll take anything for him at this point, right? Like if they said,
what if they offer Carson straight up for $4 million?
Oh no, they're not doing that. They would say, here's a conditional 7th rounder. Like, that's
get out of here with that. A 7th rounder?
They're both in the rookie contract. They're both in their contract year, and
right,
I could see that happening.
But what I'm saying is, like, the Jaguars are 100% letting Fournette walk, so they'll take anything for him. Yeah. Okay, well, it's not an absolute certainty that the Seattle wants Carson to walk. They'll probably let him play this out and then see how it goes and pay him accordingly. I'm almost certain that the Jaguars would literally take, anything for him.
Everybody, I don't know. I think they've offered what they. I was reading somewhere around the 4th round for Leonard from Seattle, and that wasn't done. So I don't know. Maybe they just want to run the wheels off of him this one last year.
Yeah, no, that totally. But I'm just saying, as far as trade value, he's going to have trouble making more than $2-3 million next year on a 1-year deal. I just,
let's put this out there. Mm-hmm. So Trent Williams, we would argue that an offensive tackle is probably a little bit more valuable than a running back, right? I think we'd say that, right? Trent Williams, bit of a troubled player. Leonard Fournette, bit of a troubled player. Trent Williams, last year of his deal. Leonard Fournette, last year of his deal. Trent Williams was only traded for a 5th round pick. So you know what, Al? Maybe you're selling me a little bit. I think 7 is like, that's low. But. Right.
No, I'm just saying it's like I'm just saying that's the absolute lowest. So let's say they're like, hey, you know what? We're going to offer a conditional 7th, and the conditional meaning like only if he plays. And they said, just give us a 6. All right, fine, do it if they really needed him. But what I'm saying is that he has no value after this year, and reportedly, the coaching staff has, said that he's not a locker room guy. He's not someone that is jive with that team at all. So I don't know if that's true, but I've never heard that outside of the Jacksonville coaching staff, and everyone has complained about them. But I'm just saying is that he's in a very low leverage negotiating position, and certainly even the team is in a low leverage negotiating position. I'm not saying he's not a good producer. He's just in a low leverage negotiating position.
He's definitely a problem child, that's for sure.
Yeah, well, you saw he was commenting that he wanted Cam Newton to come into Jacksonville to challenge Gardner Minshew. Yeah. So he's not a big Minshew fan. So obviously the fact that oh God, can someone Mike Yeager just talking his shit again constantly?
What is that?
Somebody help Shane with his horrid 5 o'clock shadow.
I mean, what is this guy, Burt Reynolds? He thinks he's so good looking that he can make fun of us.
He likes to be clean. He likes to be clean shaven. I don't know. I appreciate it. You know what I do? It's easy for me. I just go with my my clipper. Really easy. I save so much money on razors, dude. It's fantastic.
Do you use the same razor on your face that you do on your balls?
Kind of.
Who does it? We've got to save.
Oh my gosh, I know. We need to get that sponsor, right?
Yeah.
They're on all the podcasts now.
That's
I've heard
right.
of they're
That's
on Roster
hilarious.
Watch. They're on Pro Football Focus, PFF. It's crazy. It's crazy.
Yeah.
All right, guys.
A few more listeners, and we can have shaved balls sponsors.
Yeah,
Oh,
exactly.
man.
There you
For
go.
sure.
Exactly. Okay, so I took J.K. Dobbins in the middle of the fourth round. What are you guys' thoughts on that? Like, it's obviously a pure upside play. Al, we were debating this just last week on the show. I think that Dobbins is going to walk in. He's eventually, within a couple weeks, is going to become the alpha. I think he's going to be the dog. I think that Mark Ingram his best days are behind him. And I think that J.K. Dobbins is going to be the number one running back in that offense. So I went on a bit of a limb, knowing that if I didn't take him there, I wasn't probably going to get him in the fifth round. Maybe a bit of a reach, but what are your thoughts on that? And Mark Ingram, for the record, was still on the board.
Yeah, I mean, Mark Ingram, let's not discard him too quickly. He was a top 10 RB last year. And that team suffered without him in the playoffs. Like, they didn't look the same. And obviously, you know, for long term, J.K. Dobbins definitely looks like a good player. But let's remember the team thinks Gus Edwards is a good player, and he is. He's a competent. I'm not saying he's not more than just a guy, but he's one of those guys that you put in on 4th and 1, and when the team needs that yard, he just puts his head down and goes and gets it. Like, the team likes him. So you have to pencil Gus Edwards in for 4 touchdowns this year, right? For the goal line. And then let's remember, this regime did draft Justice Hill. They are going to figure out, this is the year they're going to figure out if they need him or not. So again, J.K. Dobbins is the best back talent-wise, but there's no training camp. Pass blocking was not Dobbins' strength in college, and without any time, rookies already struggle with that. I'm not saying that long-term it won't be a good play. I'm just saying is that if you draft him in the 4th round, there's risk with that pick. There is risk. I think Dobbins on talent belongs in the 4th round with the risk, so it is the appropriate risk. But just for all those reasons I just stated, I probably will pass unless he falls to the 6th, which is probably won't happen. Round. Yeah, it probably won't happen.
Well, I mean, one of my strategies in general with best ball is you load up on running back early, just because it really does fall off a cliff pretty much right around round 5, right?
Like, it's not in best ball, Brand. You said you haven't played too much, but the basic premise of the rule is that if you don't come in first, you don't win. I mean, if you come in second, you get like a $5 credit, big deal. All right. Yeah. So if you're not in first, you might as well be in last. So for best ball, Shane, I agree, because what if it does happen? What if there's a 15% chance I'm wrong, right? And he is the guy from day one. You're going to win that damn league. And that's what you do. That's how you play best ball to win. Whereas in our season-long leagues, we just want to make the playoffs and then have some good luck.
Yeah, hopefully that snap count goes up as the playoffs come in.
Where do you see Dobbins, Brandon?
I have him as a 3rd best back in this class. He's definitely a 5th round pick for me. I believe in that guy's talent. I think he's one of the most explosive guys laterally and up the field in one cut. And he actually has some great vision and hands that are underrated. I don't know why people don't say he can't catch. He can catch, and he is fully going to take advantage of that role. And I think he's going to outshine Mark, but it's going to be towards the end of the season.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I mean, I think the general baseline that you're comfortable with these running backs out of college is between 20 to 25 receptions a year. So his first year, 22 receptions, second year, 26 receptions, and then his junior season, he had 23 receptions. So that's beyond acceptable, in my opinion.
Yeah.
In terms of
when you watch him, he snatches the ball quite naturally, and he does it from he's reached behind him, and he's adjusted to the ball in the air when it's not perfect. And I think he's much better at it than he's given credit.
I love it. Hey guys, quick question for you, because this is appropriate. Where would you guys take Leonard Fournette in Dynasty right now, or what would you take for him? Say you want him on your team.
Which one of those are two different questions? Where would we take him in a startup?
Let's answer the question first. Yeah. So if you're taking him in a startup, where are you willing to take DeFlair and Leonard Fournette, knowing that it could really be a 1-year rental?
In our well, I mean, he'll get a job next year somewhere. I mean, if he's got to play for the $1 million or a league, 900,000 league minimum, something like that, he'll get a job. He is talented. Let's see. In our startup, Brandon, that we're doing right now, Leonard Fournette went
in the 4th round.
He went 3.4. 3.4, and that's in Superflex. So let's assume he's like 2.10 or late second, early third, and mid third in Superflex. Okay, so I would say that that's too early for me. I would rather wait, a little bit later on. Personally, and again, I'll just do the quick answer. I probably wouldn't take him until around the 5th round, and then the other running backs that are going right around that point are like I would take him right before like Todd Gurley, Melvin Gordon. I'd take him right like in there,
Okay,
right before,
yeah.
in the Devin Singletary range.
Yeah, I definitely kind of agree with that. I would take Gurley over Leonard right now.
Yeah, me too.
Because there is nobody in that backfield with him. I think Brian
Yeah.
Hill is, right? Brian Hill, and that's about it.
Brian Hill's still there, yeah.
And I mean, Julio and Ridley, I want to be a part of that. So I would take Gurley over Fournette, but that is the line. I think that's where his market is.
I'd rather take a receiver in the 3rd round than take Fournette.
Yeah.
Yep. No, I think that's fair. What would you guys trade him for in terms of a dynasty pick?
Like if
Like
I'm
a rookie
trading
pick.
away Fournette, like what would I take?
Say you own Fournette. If you're the owner of Fournette, what are you willing to accept? Like,
Well,
would you take
put it
like
this
a
way,
late
would you-
first, early second?
Let me ask you this question, Shane. Would you rather have the guy that goes around 1.9 is Jerry Jeudy? Would you take Jerry Jeudy or Leonard Fournette in Dynasty?
Can we flip it to Keyshawn Vaughn?
No, it's got to be because Keyshawn Vaughn's the next one. He's 210.
I'm probably taking Jerry Jeudy.
Okay, so you wouldn't. So there you go.
No.
So you wouldn't. So you wouldn't get 109. So 210 is Keyshawn Vaughn. Would you take Keyshawn Vaughn or Leonard Fournette?
Keyshawn Vaughn.
Brandon.
Vaughn all the way.
Okay, so now you wouldn't take 110 for him. Let's go to the 11th. Is Jalen Reagor? It's your favorite receiver. It's Michael Pittman. It's whoever is there. So would you take Leonard Fournette or that receiver?
I'm taking Rager. I'm taking Justin Jefferson, and for guys like Michael Pittman, Brendan Ayuk,
Or whoever your guy is, it doesn't matter.
Well,
so
no,
you're
that's kind of where I'm like. It's like the end of that tier of player is where I'm considering it.
So this is basically what it is, and I'll let Brandon jump in a second. Is that he's stuck in a weird place. Like his owner's not going to take a second rounder, and you're not going to give a first rounder. So it depends on what your team context is.
I would just try and pair 2 seconds up and get them. If that's what I would like, 2 mids in the.
If you're the Fournette owner, you're not going to do it.
I don't know. I mean, I don't know. Maybe not. It just depends on my mood that day. I don't know. I just kind of I'm in and out on Leonard. He's a good player and he's got elite talent.
If you're not
like
in,
I
you're
said,
out. If you're not in, you're out. It doesn't mean you're out, like obviously at a value, but that's my point is that he's stuck in the phantom zone. He's stuck in the you're not going to give a 1 and you're not going to sell for a 2.
I got a question for you guys. It's kind of like a game 3 type thing. So right now, the world we live in, it's a pretty uncertain place. And if there's no college football season this year, which they haven't decided if they're going to have one yet, if that is the case, there's a possibility that in the NFL supplemental draft, some of these guys who did not declare, like your Chuba Hubbards, your Travis Etienne's of the world, Najee Harris, exactly, they could potentially come and I think that they officially can't apply, but I think they could probably do like a class action suit or something like that to essentially lobby the NFL to let them take place in the supplemental draft. If that happens, I think they win it too. Look, the NFL might say, no, we have our rules and regulations, but in the end, the NFL wants to put a good product on the board. If they can have, like, the highest rated draft ever was this year. If they can have that, like, draft 2.0, of course.
Normally the supplemental draft doesn't even get televised. So
exactly.
Exactly.
So Jamar Chase could potentially, was it Javon Moore?
How about Trevor Lawrence?
Trevor Lawrence, like all these players, right? So my question to you guys, okay, and this is a question that like your commissioners need to figure out in the event of a supplemental draft. Are you going to do like a random ADP order?
Yeah, we figured it out already in our league. We in the $300 league that we're doing right now, we are not going to do our rookie draft until we have clarity on that. Because if those guys are drafted, again, if that means that we have to just relax and not draft in June, and we have to end up doing our draft the last week of August, so be it. Because if those guys are in a supplemental draft, they're just going to be part of our rookie draft. That's how we decided in that league.
Yeah. Okay, well, most people have rookie fever, Al. So,
you have to.
In 2 of my leagues, one of my drafts was scheduled for next Monday. That got sped up to Friday. My other one was scheduled for June 1st. That started last Friday. So these rookie drafts are happening, and they're finished already. So, just again, we're just kind of talking speculation here. But if you're going to figure out whatever it is, if it's going to be a random ADP order, that pretty much eviscerates the value of your 2021 picks. Would you guys agree with that?
No, because I mean, it was a call because there'll be other guys will emerge.
But what if there's no college football season now? Like, how are we going to know which guys are going to emerge?
There's people out there that'll be on it, and because like guys like Brandon, guys like you, Shane, myself, because we love it so much, we'll pay attention to those. Again, we all consider ourselves pretty, in tune and astute to what's going on, but we're not Debbie guys. We listen to what those guys say and kind of process the information and give it to the people. So, okay. I mean, yes, it sucks.
Let me full circle this for you. So there's a purpose to this conversation. I'm leading this for a reason. What I'm trying to say is Leonard Fournette, you have him. Would you trade? Say you're in a win now team. Okay. So you've got a pretty good team. Even if next year, if there's just normal, it's probably going to be a late 2020 first. Would you trade your 2021 first, knowing that there could be a supplemental draft, which means in theory, the quality of talent next year won't be as good.
Right. Good
Would
question.
you be willing to risk it, trade for Leonard Fournette this year, a one next year, and help win your championship? Is that something that you guys would be willing to do? There's a risk, obviously, but you're still getting a good player for at least 1 year.
I mean, if he's going to be your third running back and you're going to go win a championship, go do it. Yeah,
absolutely. Okay, so just some food for thought. Okay, I'm going to wrap it up really quick here. I want to talk about Cam Akers. He's going, like I said, right after him, DeAndre Swift and Cam Akers, mid-fifth round together. Al, you know how I feel about the Detroit Lions. I was a little bit like,
you mean Swift, right?
Well, Swift and Akers went back to back in mid round. Right. So Swift, Akers, for one, who you guys taking first? Just in redraft /
in redraft?
Redraft and best ball. Who are you taking first? DeAndre Swift? If it's different, tell me.
A Swift for me.
You're taking Swift?
I'm going Akers.
I'm probably going Akers too. It's really close, though. It's really close because
I am not happy with that landing spot for Swift.
Yeah, it's funny. You're not alone, Brandon. A lot of people said that. I think that the landing spot couldn't be better. I think it's ideal because, and I'll explain why. No one likes the Lions. We got that, and we know Matt Patricia, all things. But he's not. He might have bad down and distance and some bad process that is obvious that we all don't like, but. If there's one thing we know what he does like, it's to run the football. And he was disappointed more than anybody that Kerryon couldn't stay healthy. Now, Kerryon Johnson said himself that he's best used as a 12 to 14 touch guy. And honestly, that's where DeAndre Swift is best, in the 15 to 17, 18 touch area. So you actually get better performance from him rather than giving him 25. These two backs are paired almost perfectly. And I think they're going to run them on the field at the same time. Again, it's just a pure talent thing for me. Yeah. And I don't think the situation is as bad as everyone thinks. That said, Cam Akers is the next guy on my list. It's not like it's that big of a difference.
Yeah. No, I just prefer Cam Akers. I think he's he's got some burst and vision on the edges and on that cutback in the second level that is pretty. He can finish runs, and I've seen Swift get chased down from behind here and there, and Akers, he's gone, and that's the tiebreak for me. But Swift has definitely got better hands overall. But
and he's also he didn't have elite speed, Swift, that is. I mean, he has this thing where at the second level he can jump. He looks like the Madden video game when you press you press like triangle right or something and the guy spins the right. It's amazing, his juke move. Yeah. Well, he's not going to get a lot of 40-yard runs, but he's going to get a hell of a lot of 12 to 18-yard runs.
Right. So Cam is built. I don't think he's built for a full-blown workload. And Swift is actually built. I thought he could definitely handle 20 touches.
Yeah, if he needs to.
I wish he could get that 20 touches because he would be elite at that point, and he would be somebody I would be trying to get a lot of. But I think he's going to be. I think there's going to be. They love the committee stuff over there in Detroit, and I think he's going to be inconsistent. That's just me.
Okay, let me read you guys some numbers here real quick. So in terms of 40-yard dash, they're actually surprisingly similar. Cam Akers, it's combined around a 4.47 40. DeAndre Swift ran a 4.48 40.
Virtually the same.
They're pretty much identical. Yeah.
Maybe he's just scared to get hit and he runs a little faster. I don't know.
Well, you know what it is that there was a bad off. Everyone knows at this point the offensive line in Florida State was terrible, and the Rams have a bad offensive line. So maybe they're like, hey, this guy knows how to run in bad conditions.
Right.
I mean, that was probably part of the equation. I bet it was that, hey, let's get a running back that is good when things aren't good around them, and that there's something to be said for that. Some guys are really good until they get punched in the face, right? I mean, Cam Akers did prove that even when everything's is chaotic, he can perform. So I'll cede you that.
Yeah, well, I mean, okay, so good point. I mean, it's 115th ranked out of 130 college teams, so absolutely bottom of the barrel. Last year, the Rams were ranked number 19 in run blocking, and I want to say, was it 2018 though that they were number 2? Either one or 2.
They went up.
They've lost a lot of guys. It's not a good offense.
Guys. Yeah, no, absolutely, I agree. So there's some risk, but things can change fast, right? It's dynasty. Yeah. Okay, we're talking about redraft, but in dynasty, which I always tie it back to, things can change quickly. But both these guys have upside. I think there's no doubt about that. And if you're getting them in the fifth round, excuse me, as like your RB3, I'm pretty comfortable with that. I like that. I think that's a perfect little sweet spot for that upside. So, okay, guys, we're going to end it there. We'll talk maybe wide receiver another day. But Brandon, where can people find you? Tell us a little bit about that.
I'm at Sapper Stud on Twitter, and that's or Brandon Adam on Facebook. But I'm just a guy that loves fantasy, and I'm glad to be here. Thanks for inviting me.
Love it, man. We're definitely gonna have you back. It's been a blast.
Yeah,
thank you for all your loyal support and just being somebody that communicates, watches our shows. It's like we appreciate it so much. So I'm really glad that we're able to have you on here. And
again, I'm gonna pat myself on the back here. I knew Sapper Stud would be a fit in perfectly. He's even though he has some really horrible takes, I mean, other than that, he fits right into the puzzle. He knows what he's doing, and most importantly, he's a good communicator and he's passionate about fantasy. The two things I care about.
Yeah.
It's not my fault. You're way over the edge with Swift. It's not my fault.
The one thing I respect the most about Al is the fact that he's an excellent talent evaluator. So there you go. He found your brand.
There you go.
So,
that's true.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Al, where can people find you?
On Twitter, Alan Seslowsky, AlanSeslowsky. And also, I want to push people to go on Instagram and follow Alan Fantasy Football, at Alan Fantasy Football. Also, go check me out on TikTok, even if you have kids that are on TikTok and you think it's for kids only. It's not. It's not. There's fantasy football going on over there. And LinkedIn. So Alan Fantasy Football on Instagram, and then my name, Alan Seslowsky, on all those other platforms I just named. I've been doing those the short articles a couple times a week for Roster Watch. Check those out. I tweet them out, give little tidbits and daily updates, all that kind of stuff. So, and of course, every Sunday here with you, Shane, my favorite place to be.
Absolutely. And of course, the DFS Army. So
DFS Army podcast.
You're everywhere right now. You guys can't escape him. You can't escape him. So I'm Flex Shane. Thank you for joining us. Follow us on Twitter at the Flex Network 1. If you like us, please subscribe, rate and review. If you're listening to us on the podcast, we are the Flex Network.